Okay, I'm going to start with a very basic question. You have single-handedly changed the meaning, the perception, the destiny of the hat. Tell me, what drew you to hats in the beginning? Does your fascination for them predate your time at the National School of Art and Design? Or National College of Art and Design? Or
It didn't, really. I kind of just started then. You know, I studied fashion design.
Yeah.
And I liked to sort of try to make a hat as well. And I made one hat one time from an old vintage hat, but the straw was really good. And so I said to my teacher that I made a hat, and she said she'd like to see it. So when I showed it to her, she bought it. So I thought, okay, that's a result. So it's just something, there's physicality of making something from nothing, which is the essence of what hat design is really about, because you're working with a two-dimensional material and you're turning it into three dimensions. But the physicality of doing that is what's interesting.
Yes. You know, which brings me to both in the way that you make your hats and in the way they shape up. It's also a form of artistic sculpture. So I really wanted to know about the influence of Dolly and the Surrealists on your work.
Yes.
Because that's always intrigued me. And any other artists, of course, that might have inspired you.
I mean, Surrealism is interesting. I haven't been particularly influenced by Dolly, but there are some Dolly, esque things, like,
the
lobsters
hat,
for Lady Gaga or Isabella Blow, but I really just like to sort of start with a blank page and a pencil and see what comes up. So I don't really reference lots of different things. It's always really about kind of the personality of the person or the imagined person.
Yeah. So, okay, so that's interesting. So you're saying that it's not intentional quotationism, it's not intentional referencing, it's all the various influences that you like flowing into.
Yes, because that's how that's how it really works, because you will go, maybe you will see, we live in a visual world.
Yeah.
So subconsciously it can come out later, but I don't really do things like go to a museum to do research, because I prefer to take it from inside my head.
Sure, but was it a period of art that you like for itself, or is that?
I like the. You mean surrealism?
The surrealists.
Well, surrealism and hats have been a very important genre because of Schiaparelli, or. It's entertaining, sure. Which is what a hat is as well. It's entertaining.
Outside of your design, what kind of art what kind of...
I love Andy Warhol and Leonardo da Vinci, and lots, but not, I like very beautiful things, and there's something unbelievable about Leonardo da Vinci's paintings or drawings. So it's not all about Damien Hirst, and I like what he does, but it's not, art has been going on for thousands of years, so it's not all about modern art. But I love photographs, so I collect Clarence Sinclair Bull images from the 20s, because he was the MGM photographer. And I came across, one time when I was in Los Angeles, I came across these incredible photographs in a junk shop, but they didn't know who it was, and I was like, I'm sure that's Greta Garbo, and then I checked it out, and so I collect photographs. but I'm lucky to be able to collect photographs of my hats by best photographers in the world, from Irving Penn to Bruce Weber to... It's all about a photograph. It's a hats come about, you know, they're evocative of another time.
Yeah, and they get a second life in photographs. I mean, that's a you know.
Well, they kind of, you know, movies and photographs are probably my biggest influence because they are, it's, you know, Hollywood, early Hollywood invented contemporary glamour.
Yeah, I was actually going to come to that, but before that, just a small question. When worn, your hats are also akin to performance art, you know?
Yes.
So they combine with the wearer to become a you know, sort of performance art.
Yes.
If you were to pick one of these two terms for your work, which one would you pick, theatrical or cinematic?
Cinematic.
Cinematic. Why would you pick cinematic?
Because theatrical is, theatrical is, you know, it has kind of put down connotations.
Yeah.
Whereas I think about them in a cinematic way, and I develop them in a cinematic way. And when I'm making it or developing the whole thing, I can see what's happening clearly.
Yeah.
So I know where the beginning and the end is. I know when it's finished. So I'm drawing with materials.
Yeah, that's very interesting to me, because I remember reading an interview of yours where you spoke about a client of yours who said to you that you don't merely sell hats, you sell dreams. And that made me think of how filmmakers are actually usually called dream merchants. And
yes.
I was going to ask you about your cinematic influences. Well, inspirations, not even influences is more direct, but I'm saying inspirations. Filmmakers of films that really get you going. They may not like translate literally into the work you're doing, but...
Yes. I think kind of early Hollywood films are the most interesting for hats, because at that moment directors knew how to light a hat, and so it wasn't just blasting white light, it was dramatic. It was shadows or illusion or allure or what it was suggesting, whereas today directors aren't used to and don't like them properly because they don't get it. So they don't understand that, you know, it's interesting not to reveal everything, which is what a hat can do. But most directors are afraid of hats now.
Are they? Why would you say that?
Well, they just don't know how to light them. Whereas the early Hollywood movies, they allowed them to... They were in black and white, there were just more contrasts.
That too, yeah. Maybe it's also the way they look at hats. I mean, maybe hats need to be looked at slightly differently from the way you look at you know, clothes, maybe, because you have to see it as an extension, as a part of the face. I mean, it's, you know,
it's armor. For the face.
Yeah, it's.
Many people think that people that wear hats are trying to show off, but actually, it's a protection, and people always presume that, you know, people that wear hats are, you know, extroverts and want everybody to look at them, when in fact. Because I make hats for lots of those people, I understand that they're not. They gain their power from a hat. So they feel, when you're wearing something that, when you're wearing something beautiful, then you feel good. So hats are actually empowering for women. And it's about how it makes you feel. You know, designers have no power today to dictate what fashion is, because at one time, designers would, you know, have the color of the season or the cut of the season or the look of the season, and now it doesn't really exist. There are sort of trends exist for magazines, but the power today is with the consumer, and so people are more confident in themselves. So you cannot say that one particular thing is the most fashionable at the moment, because it's a world of choice.
Yeah, and fashion is no longer prescriptive. That's very
Yeah.
interesting. But you know, you designed for the Harry Potter films. And,
Yes.
I wanted to know what fresh excitement and challenges costume designing for films brought to your life.
Well, it's a moving picture.
Yeah.
So it's interesting, the detail that when the amount of detail that goes into movies. You know, I've been lucky enough to go on kind of Tim Burton sets for Sleepy Hollow and another one, and it was amazing. And then last year when I was in Australia, what's the man who did Moulin Rouge?
Baz Luhrmann.
Baz Luhrmann. So he invited us to visit the set for The Great Gatsby, and he showed us some footage.
That must have been.
It's incredible.
That must have been incredible.
It's just delicious feast.
Those are both directors that you I wish you'd work with. I wish they'd work with you.
They are. They have big personality, and they bring personality to their movies.
And they're both so different.
And they're both so different.
I think they'd both be a good fit with.
Yes, I'd love to. But fashion doesn't cross over that much into film. But I'm interested to change that.
Also because what you do is not merely fashion. But would you like to do more of costume design? Is that something that... Can you think of a film already made that you wish you'd designed?
I think some of my biggest cinematic influences are Fellini. And I love his movies. And when I saw Juliet of the Spirits, I didn't understand it, but I just saw the world, just all these mad women trekking around in the wildest looking hats. So, and Casanova, the movie is extraordinary. I mean, I love the fact that he spent the whole budget in the first 2 minutes of the movie sinking a ship. And, I believe in all those kind of people that are extra. Because it has to be like that.
Is he one of the people you would have liked to meet?
Yes. He had an amazing sense of costume, or really unhinged looking people in his movies.
This is something you touched upon earlier, but I remember you saying somewhere that what brings a hat to life is the personality of the wearer. Now, I was wondering, you have the most diverse list of iconic clientele. How do you synergize your creations with personalities as diverse as a Kate Middleton and Tita Von Teese, so Sarah Jessica Parker maybe in the middle somewhere? How do you and what do the personalities bring to your inspiration? I mean, you began talking about that earlier when you said that it grows from the person and making it for, and
yes. Well, it's it's interesting to make hats for. Some people are more interesting than others, and people who wear hats have that little bit extra. I mean, it's not, Lady Gaga's not boring. So, or Sarah Jessica Parker, they're kind of larger than life people.
But yet in very different ways.
Completely different ways, and it's just that what you would make for one, you think about the person, you think about their personality, where they're going, what they're wearing it to, and also, these people are entertainers, and I'm entertaining on their heads.
Yes.
So it's more fun to make a hat for Sarah Jessica Parker going to the Sex and the City premiere than it is to make a hat maybe for Sharon Stone going to a premiere of her movie. It doesn't really work. It's just that, Sarah Jessica Parker embodies that, the character she plays loves fashion.
Yes.
So it was fun to do that for her.
So would you say it's more instinctive that these people and then you sit down with a pen and paper and then...
Well, it's a little bit like visiting a psychiatrist when you come and have a hat made, because I am trying to understand A, what you do not want, and B, how to help you to make you happy with that hat. So, but I don't. It's just from talking to somebody, I can learn. So
Well,
it's not an interrogation.
You mentioned Lady Gaga, and your work is such an integral part of her expression, as was once with Isabella Blow's persona.
She's a kind of 21st century pop version of Isabella. She's a
I was
commercial
going to ask
version
you
of
if
Isabella.
you see any similarities in the way that both these women use design as for self-expression.
Well,
or any differences?
yes, no. It's what's interesting about Lady Gaga is that she is not she's very talented and very young, but B, she's not trying to be the beautiful girl.
Yes.
Like other pop stars.
Yes.
Other pop star girls are, they're just trying to be beautiful, whereas she has a different version of that. So...
But she's not trying to be pretty.
Yes, she's not trying to be, Cindy Crawford.
Yeah.
Because she's not.
Yeah.
But she is on the edge. And what's interesting is that it's a commercial phenomenon because people they like it. They like her. There's something attractive about her.
And very intriguing.
And very
She's brought
intriguing.
mystery back onto the pop culture sphere.
Well, there are a lot of kind of pop people. I think,
But mystery had gone out of that arena entirely. The aura, the mystery, which is such an integral part of even early Hollywood that you said.
Yeah, it's also boring,
mystery.
all those people, because they all look the same, and they're all wearing the same dress, and they're all wearing the same hair, and it is supposed to be entertainment. They are entertainers, and we're looking to be entertained. So some people entertain better, but what she has in particular is that she can sing. Pop stars that can sing are a revelation these days because many can't.
You've collaborated with some of the most exciting design houses in the world. We had Chanel or Armani or Alexander Mcqueen, of course.
Yes.
I was wondering, given how individualistic and distinct your own sense of style is, how do these collaborations work for you?
It's I kind of get into their zone when I work for them. So they expect a lot. So they don't just want any old hat. It has to be something that's never been seen before, that's totally revolutionary, and that's original. And originality is a currency that I have to work with because they expect that.
So you're saying it also becomes a challenge that you enjoy, that you need.
The challenge is frightening and exciting because it's supposed to look easy. It's supposed to be effortless, but in fact it's not. And that's why there have been so many kind of fashion casualties, because it's very stressful. I have a different thing, but they have 10 collections a year, every 2 months, something like this. There's just too much and too many clothes and too many. It's been taken over by corporateness. It's not about creativity; it's about corporate.
Yeah, and
those big kind of corporate
seen that
cannibal
change coming.
brands.
Sort of.
Yes. Everybody's a designer today. Everybody's an artist, and everyone's an expert. And I think that's good in one way, but in another way, it just means that there's a lot of things, a lot of clothes, and you don't know whether it's kind of cheap can be expensive, and the expensive can look cheap. So it's just a lot.
I'm sure that there are plenty of examples, but can you think of any one particular collaboration that you really, really enjoyed with a designer?
I kind of enjoy every collaboration because you have to. Otherwise, you don't. I mean, some are more stressful because it's very difficult. It's very easy to work with a very strong designer. It's very difficult to work with a mediocre designer because they don't know what they want and you don't know what they want. And whereas I've been lucky to work with the kings of fashion because I can get into what they want. I can deliver it, and whether it was exciting. It was exciting to work with all of them. Working with Ralph Lauren was really exciting because he's just completely the opposite of what I'm about. So when they asked me, I thought he was joking. I was like, well, me and Ralph Lauren, and so I went to see him, and I took him first to some kind of quite conservative-looking hats, and it was like the X Factor, and he was not, getting it. And then I said, okay, let's show you something else, completely different. And then, he wanted something modern. But probably my most interesting collaborations have been with Alexander Mcqueen.
Yes.
So he had something completely exceptional because you didn't really feel the commerce when you worked with him because it was always excellent, always completely different to last time, and always original. And the energy around his shows, which were performances.
Yeah.
Because, when you show, it's a performance, and models are performers. Models are the unsung heroes of fashion because it looks easy. Well, everyone thinks it's easy, but in fact, it's actually quite difficult to project that.
Yeah. And would you say he was also one of the most demanding designers you've worked with, Alexander?
Yes, because there just wasn't an option to. I just couldn't pitch up without something incredible. That wasn't. He would give. He would really. He'd really try you out. Without meaning to, but it's just his passion for it was, I just couldn't disappoint him. So, sometimes he'd want a bird made out of wood, or he'd want, the maddest things. And the strength of the hats and the strength of the clothes, it worked because he was a very strong clothing designer, and my hats are very strong, and he wasn't afraid of them. So to put together with the girls and the makeup and the hair, it worked.
Yeah.
Whereas on some other designers, it wouldn't be right.
Yeah.
It's fun to work with people that are fearless.
Yes, because that brings that quality to your life for that period as well, I imagine.
And also, everybody, always says, who's the favorite person or who do you like best. You can't say, Karl Lagerfeld, he's a trip, and Valentino's. They're all different, completely different people, and they're extraordinary.
Are you planning to write a book someday?
No.
I hope you do. I hope you do.
But I've got a lot of, interesting experiences with all of them, but at a very young age. So I was intimidated by all of them for many years. And, as you get older, you're less intimidated.
Well, your return to Fashion Week, London Fashion Week this year was hugely successful, but also hat off, if you pardon the pun, to Michael Jackson. Now, two questions here. Did you ever design for him?
No. I did have I have a hat that looks like a ship, a sailing ship, and he tried to buy it 20 years ago when it was in this window in Bergdorf's in New York, and he offered $25,000 for it, but I only had one ship, and even though I loved the idea of it going up to Neverland, I didn't. And so so I love that he wanted it. but he was exceptional entertainer. He was the greatest entertainer of the 20th century, really.
Easily.
He was also a visual entertainer.
Yes.
So he had tricks that he was very clever with, like, you know, his glove or the style of his clothes, or, you know, we had all his clothes in my studio for about a month before the show, and the energy that emanated from them when you'd walk into the room was interesting, you know.
Yeah.
His trousers, those black trousers with the white stripe that he would perform Billie Jean in.
Yeah.
It was amazing to see those things. They're like pop relics.
Oh, yeah, he really worked the medium. He knew the medium and worked it. He was incredible.
Yes.
But can you think of any other instances where you've used your work in this way to sort of reinvent
Grace
something
Jones.
from... Okay. Oh, yeah.
So I worked with her for many
Oh,
years.
yeah.
And so she was one of the first entertainers I worked with. And we've known each other for 15 years, and I art directed some of her concerts for her and do her shows with her. You know, she's a delicious nightmare, but she's also a wonderful person, but an extraordinary entertainer. And she's exciting to work with. You know, I went to New York last couple of months ago to do her show at the Roseland in Times Square, and Grace is an unpredictable character, and she's fearless. So she isn't afraid to take chances, because that's what is interesting about all those people there. Yes, they take chances.
Yeah.
And some people don't, but I've always ended up working and being attracted to the ones that are on the edge.
Yeah. Well, you know, I'm sure it's rewarding to do that. But
It is interesting.
You touched upon it earlier. You said you love early Hollywood cinema, and you
Yes.
said you love Fellini. What else do you personally like? Not, you know, like watching when you go home. What would you pop into a DVD player, or what would you like to watch?
I like any kind of rubbish, really. It's entertainment. But I like beautiful movies, like Visconti, or unusual movies, documentaries. But I particularly like, have you ever seen that film Ludwig?
Yeah.
So that's incredible. I mean, you know, we've learned so much from movies like this. They transport you into another world, really.
Yeah. Have you seen any Indian cinema at all?
I've seen a few, yes, but I haven't seen a lot. But I like that. I like that sense of exuberance, because it's transportive. It's not. It's pure entertainment.
Can you recall anything you've seen which might have been from India?
Numerous kind of Bollywood movies on TV or whatever.
Okay.
But I like the simplicity of the approach, because it has got a different kind of approach to every other culture's cinemas, because it's enthusiastic, and it's up, and it's uplifting.
Yes, and it's extremely enduring. It's the one thing that connects all of India. It's it's lasted in its original form forever, which is incredible.
Well, it kind of, you know, it links very well with kind of those early Hollywood films that we're discussing, because they were to entertain and to uplift in times when, there was much economic strife.
Yeah.
So a movie has the power to do that.
Yeah.
Because we all want to be somebody else at different points in the day or week.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Bollywood's never quite taken its focus off that one primary goal of upliftment and just, pure entertainment.
And exuberance.
Exuberance, yeah, you're right about that.
And so it's kind of, it has more connection with Baz Luhrmann than it would with something else. Because his is a kind of Bollywood approach as well, because it's it's extra. It's not, you know, when we went to see the set of The Great Gatsby and they were filming that day, on the way when we were going there, I thought, why is Baz Luhrmann making The Great Gatsby? And then when he showed us the footage, I thought, it's his version of The Great Gatsby. Yeah. And so it's just incredible.
I cannot
Most incredible
wait to see it.
things happen in the movie, and it's, you know, it's a feast.
It's a feast.
Yes.
Yes.
And you know, a visual feast is probably my favorite.
That would be that would be a great way to describe it. I read somewhere that you gave away 25 hats to Elizabeth Taylor once, and clearly you must have been charmed.
You know, she's a mythological movie star, and she's just always been there, and so she was, you know, Madonna, J-Lo, all those people before they were. She invented celebrity extravagance, and you know, she was completely spoiled from when she was a very young girl.
Yeah.
And she liked a lot, and she liked she loved extra, more diamonds, clothes. So I was asked to, I was on a shoot one day and I got a phone call to say, you know, Elizabeth Taylor's assistant on the telephone, and she wondered if you would make Elizabeth Taylor a hat pin. In 20 years, no one's ever asked me for a hat pin. So I thought, okay, so I got back to, somebody got back to her and I said, ask her, does she want a hat to go with the hat pin? And she did. We went to see her in the Dorchester, and she was extraordinary, because I was expecting a very, very difficult person, which I'm sure she was capable of being, but she was really charming, and she talked a lot about her movies and about Cleopatra, and she showed me all her diamonds, and she ordered a cocktail waiter to come up to the room and make us cocktails, so it was like more than I'd even expected. And so, you know, she asked me, then we did a show for her, on her, with the bathroom mirror, and she was entertaining and wonderful, and loved it all, and kept asking me over and over again, you know, which hat she can have. So I thought, you know, it's too boring to tell Elizabeth Taylor which hat she can have. So, because it was exciting. She was the ultimate celebrity. And so I gave her all the hats, and I just thought it's too tacky to start saying you can have this one, because it was inspiring for me to meet her.
Yeah.
And she was warm and friendly and funny, and talked about her costumes and how she would know this character, or would know the scene from looking inside the costume. So your costumes are very important to
well, at least they used to be.
Yes, there's an amazing exhibition at the V&A in London at the moment of Hollywood costume.
Really?
Yeah, it's incredible. It's one of the best exhibitions I've ever seen.
Is it? Is it going to be on for a while?
Yes, it's on for a few months.
That's going to catch up. But who other than her might be some of the most intriguing film personalities you've met, or you would have liked to meet, perhaps?
Well, I know it's a cliche, but I love Marilyn Monroe, because she was probably one of the best illusions ever, because she invented that. In the beginning, I remember seeing her as a child on TV and thinking, who is this crazy woman? But it's a performance. Yeah. So it's like she was the performance. She
invented the character, she wrote the character, then she played the character.
And also some people the camera love. You know, the camera loves certain people. That's why some people just come out better than they do in even more in real life. So some people the camera loves, and she sure knew how to work a camera. She loved having a photograph taken. That's why there's so many photographs of her.
Yeah.
And you know, she knew how to work the camera.
It would have been incredible to meet her and to get to
Yes, yes. I mean, you can see how, you know, exceptional fame is damaging to people, because it's a very strange experience to have people, you know, if you're ultra famous.
Yeah, and to give in to that, which she did. It takes a lot of courage, I imagine.
Yes, but also it's not, you know, everybody all over the world, they think fame is the ultimate acquisition. And everyone's on reality TV, everyone's on X Factors or Big Brother, because everyone wants that. And what's amazing is nobody ever says it's okay if you get that. It's not that great. And some people, you know, I know many very famous people, and they have quite reclusive lives because it's quite weird.
Yeah, I mean, and also
can't go out.
Yeah, also can't tell what's real and what's not. And
yes, and it's you know, it's unhinging.
Yeah, well, you know, when you look at Monroe, then she, you know, that she's definitely set an example of how unhinging it could be.
Yes, because, you know, it's a heady experience to get everything you want.
Also, then suddenly to realize that everyone else has a stake in your life. It's no longer yours to wake up one day and say, X number of people own a part of you because you've lent yourself out.
Yes.
Like that. Yeah.
And it's a job to perform.
Well. But it's interesting because, you know, in a way, what you do, even though you're an artist yourself, is you have ringside seats to this sort of
it's like
parade of fame.
Yes, it's like reading a book when you meet. You know, when you make something for somebody, you really meet that person. If you just shake hands with them at a party, you don't really meet them or whatever. But when you make something, work with them, and make something for them, you really
it's a lot more visceral.
It's a lot more interesting because you really meet the person. And, you know, the kind of scary monsters of the world are usually the nicest, and the nice ones are sometimes scary. So it's interesting.
Yeah. You know, you said in an interview that if you could pick an actor to play you in a film, it would be Brad Pitt.
No, I was joking.
You were joking.
She's gorgeous.
Of course he's
Don't
gorgeous.
You?
No, he's gorgeous.
Yeah. Some people have a light.
Yeah.
And, you know, why some people have an extra something that makes them interesting.
For me, that would be Clooney.
Yes, he's the most charming man.
Yes.
And but, you know, people like David Beckham is extraordinary because.
So let me ask you seriously: if you could pick any actor, dead or alive, to play you,
yes,
who would you pick?
I really find that so frightening, the aspect of that.
Yeah.
But I really don't.
That someone will have to take on your persona and
yes, which is going to happen.
Or interpret it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Soon. And I'm not really concerned who that person is, to be honest with you. I mean, people do always think of themselves being played by somebody, but actually, I couldn't care less, as long as they do it well. I'm more interested in who's playing the other characters.
If a film were to be made on your life, and you could pick 3 different directors to interpret it, because I'm sure every director would interpret your life very differently.
Yes.
Right? Who would you pick? Which 3 directors? Again, they could be dead or alive.
God, Baz Luhrmann, or well, I mean, it depends.
Okay, for example,
Hitchcock.
would you? I was wondering if you'd.
Yeah, he was. His thing was extraordinary.
Yeah, yeah. So Hitchcock and Baz Luhrmann.
Yeah.
Would you be interested in seeing maybe how a completely different director from a completely different genre, like Woody Allen, would interpret your life?
Oh, I love Woody Allen.
Is there anything else that you would like to try your hand at other than what you do? Professionally, I mean, not in a hobby.
You know, we live in a world of kind of, you know, design and shape, and everything has a shape and everything has a form. And so I'm open to anything, really, that I like.
Would you consider making a film yourself?
Yes. I am, at the moment. But I can't
talk about
it.
Are you directing it? Can you say that much?
No, I'm not directing it. But
you're involved.
Yes.
In
the creative aspect.
Yeah. But would you like to go on and direct a film? Maybe?
I find it interesting. New challenges are what makes you go around.
What sort of a film would it be?
It would be beautiful. I like, you know, I believe in beauty and elegance, and I would. Everyone has a different point of view.
Yeah.
And you know, designers are control freaks because it's a point of view.
Yeah. But what about any genre? Would it be a love story? Would it be a
I don't know.
Spaghetti western?
No.
Would it be,
It would be. It's you know, it's about Isabella, the movie.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm saying if you were directing a film.
You know, there's so much choice. I wouldn't know where to. I haven't given it serious thought.
Yeah. No, I was asking you at the top of your head. What do you?
Well, it would be. Fashion films are very difficult to pull off because they're always overdone and the characters are always overplayed and cliched. So actually, fashion is much funnier than how it's portrayed, and because you know it's full of quite unusual characters.
I for one would be very grateful to see a really good fashion film.
There isn't. It's very hard to, you know. It's very difficult.
Did you think of anyone that you've remotely enjoyed?
No, because they're all a bit, you know. Devil Wears Prada it's much stranger, the industry, than how that was played, and that was a very successful film. But,
that was also Meryl Streep. It was also
But like, you know, for example, Robert Altman, who did Pret-a-Porter, and he'd just done The Player beforehand, was alarming because it wasn't great. And so it's quite a hard thing to pull off because fashion business is much crazier than it actually comes across in a movie. It's just they overplay the people usually and make them too much of extra.
Well, I hope you do make a fashion film, and I hope you make biopics, and I also really hope you do consider writing a book.
Thank you.